love it. Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour Yokohama Semifinals. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are ready for a semifinal matchup between two constructed superstars. Guillaume Wafotapa has been building decks that have been played in PTQs, Friday Night Magic, Premier events around the world consistently for the last 2 years. First onto the scene in Honolulu, built the Draw-New deck that defined standard ever since Worlds. He's finally broke through with an individual top 8. He's been doing well, broke through to the top 8. He's through the semifinals. His opponent is Mark Herberholz. Speaking of Honolulu, Herberholz won that tournament. Meanwhile, he's got top 8s at Philadelphia. He had a top 8 in Limited at San Diego. It's now his 4th top 8. And, he gets his own version of this control match. What do you think of the two decks? What's the deck matchup? What are the differences here?
The big differences here is the fact that Herberholz has, I think, the much better game. Game one is pretty even.
Yeah, they're both blue-black, arcane, or mystical teachings. I've got a package of one-ofs that I can tutor up. I've got a Teferi. I've got a bunch of Damnations. Superficially pretty similar decks. But playing a mirror matchup like this, it's going to come down to the very small differences. And
the small differences are more Urzur's Factories for Herberholz, more extra pates after sideboard for Herberholz.
Okay.
Pull from Eternity and Detravor are going to be big cards in both matchups. I was talking to Mark. He said, hey, you know what? If someone sticks a Detravor and the other guy doesn't have a Pull from Eternity, it could be a lot of trouble.
Good. Guillaume seemed pretty, like he understood what was going on. He kind of wishes he built his sideboard a little more anti-control. I think it's to Herberholz's credit that his deck is capable of being sideboarded into both an effective anti-aggro deck and an anti-control deck. Wafotapa's a little more specialized against control, so that could hurt him here, but it's still close, and they're still both great players. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's. I think the edge goes to Herberholz. I don't think you can look at a matchup where it's two such similar decks that it's going to be overwhelmingly one player's favor or the other. Mm-hmm. But the extra pates seem to me to be where the match is going to fall. It's just he can remove all the counter spells. He can also get if Wafotapa does anything odd with his sideboard plan. He has an extra pate he can just burn early to
find out about
to print screen his deck.
Both players coming out of the gates pretty quickly here.
Wow, there's a ton of land in play already.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Given that this is control and control, I'm happy with the speed that they're playing. 2 prismatic lenses and 5 lands for Wafotapa. Herberholz has 5 lands and 1 prismatic lens. It's also got a storage counter, 2 storage counters.
Historically, a matchup like this is your specialty, right?
I mean, I like it. I mean, control and control is kind of an acquired taste, but I find it fascinating. I mean, I think it's really interesting because the very subtle things matter, right? You have to know, okay, it kind of is a land war, so you just want to keep playing land and not actually casting a spell, because if you make the first move, now your opponent can counter, untap, sneak something through. You really don't want to blink first if you can help it, and that's, yeah, sure. I liked playing these matchups back when I was playing. I find it interesting to watch these matchups, too. See, here you see Herberholz, the end of Wafotapa's turn, so he can get out a Mystical Teachings. Wafotapa doesn't necessarily want to fight that, because then he'll be tapped on Mark's turn.
What do you think of the storage lanes? How would you have liked those cards when you were playing playing your do-nothing blue decks?
Yeah, they're pretty powerful. I mean, they definitely give you the ability to play a bunch of spells. I mean, both players have them, so. It's funny. I bet I would have been complaining about it back when I was a player. This feels like this random thing that, like, if one guy gets more storage lands than the other, it just gives them an advantage, right? Teachings for teachings, says Mark Herberholz.
Get the card
investing in the long-term card advantage plan. Sure. Yep. Wafotapa's hand seems to be full of creature removal. Does have 1 cancel, but then he's got the -4/-4 and Damnation.
Yeah, it's gonna be who draws the fewest creature removal spells.
Could be. How many creatures do these guys have?
Let's see. Mark Herberholz has the 1 Teferi, the 2 Welks, the 2 Chroniclers. And then,
Wafotapa's got a Nurse's Factory already. Brings out a 2/2.
Right, and then they have as many tokens as they can make.
Right.
We're going to two Teferis, 2 Aeon Chroniclers, 2 Welks, and then the Triskelevis with the
Academy Ruins.
With the Academy Ruins plan. That's one card that Waffle Topper seems to regret in his deck. He would have liked to actually have had the Academy Ruins be another factory.
Yeah.
I also got that from Tsuyoshi Fujita, who had the mono blue deck we talked about, and he had 1 Academy Ruins for his serrated arrows, and he said that that's the only card he regretted in the entire deck.
Okay.
Was the Academy Ruins, and he felt that should have been
another factory.
And really feels like that may have been even the difference in his tournament.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, how about Tsuyoshi Fujita? He's on the Hall of Fame ballot this year. He's been playing forever, and he's still just innovating and showing up with crazy decks. And I just love the way the guy clearly thinks for himself.
Right.
And comes up with just this take on the field that's just seemingly out of nowhere.
Thinks for himself and Marita.
Yeah.
Because Marita was also playing for the top 8 with that deck.
Yes.
In the final round.
It's true. Marita was playing for it in the final round. Tsuyoshi was still playing for it with 2 rounds to go.
So I saw Greg Collins diligently typing up the top 50, 60 deck lists from the tournament.
Oh, awesome.
So people will be able to go back, look at all those decks. They can see what Fujita was playing.
Yeah.
Start to build out a framework of the format for the PTQs. Obviously, everything's going to change with Future Sight, but you still have the base.
How much mana does he have left over to defend this with? That's haunting him, right?
That is haunting him.
Just off storage lands? Or is he teaching it up? I'm confused. No, he's... Alright. Clearly Waffle Topo doesn't want this haunting him to resolve. So he's going to teachings as a response.
Goes and gets a cancel.
So teachings is up a cancel. Points to cancel at the haunting him. Yeah, there's a cancel back. Knew that was coming. And Guillaume, of course. Does Heezy have one last answer? Yes. Wow, so haunting him is going to resolve. Guillaume is going to lose his entire hand. Which not that much.
Sudden death and damnation, his hand was kind of already gone.
Yeah, but now Heezy knows that, right? That's the huge part here is the information that Heezy gets. He baited out 2 counters, and
that's true.
Knows the coast is clear. Now, what can Mark do to punish him?
Mark really needs to find a Trinivore and get rid of that.
Does he have any in the main? It was just
no, I'm sorry. You're right. I guess he has to find his Urza's factory.
Basically. Yeah, not a lot in Mark's hand. He's got Pull from Eternity, which doesn't do anything here. He's got Sudden Death.
It's going to be a lot of clumsy draws in this game 1, just in terms of
and a land.
Again, we talked about the absence of white weenie, but people have all these cards that are just for the aggro decks.
All right. Well, meanwhile, let's go down to the floor and get Rich Hagon to give us an update on Game 1 between Tomoharu Saito and Kazuya Mitamura.
Hey, Randy. Tomoharu Saito is 1-0 up.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, very quick. First Timbermare, it resolves. Next turn, second Timbermare, cancelled. Next turn, third Timbermare, resolves. Damnation from Mitamura. Okay, he thinks stabilized, but he's on 4 life, untap, Stormbind, 2 cards in hand. Good game.
Wow. Tomoharu Saito takes a blistering 1-0 lead. Saito playing, what did he call this deck? Pizza Stompy?
Pizza Stompy.
So Herb Holtz won the first little permission battle here. He managed to